I'd like to talk about releasing patterns in today's video because the full moon that we have this weekend is very, very intense, and it's bringing up a lot of symptoms of release, awareness. It could be bringing up a lot of realizations for you. So I want to talk about a few different things that may be coming up for you at this time and shift your perception a little bit on how some of these things are really truly purposeful and why they're meant to be playing out right now. This Capricorn full moon is truly asking us to release those old patterns and that old conditioning that has been keeping us stuck for a really long time, that has been keeping you looping in certain situations, in certain experiences that haven't served you, that haven't felt good, that haven't been bringing you joy and haven't been allowing you to experience your true identity, your true self. And so one of the very first things I wrote down was actually motivation, and really looking at where your motivations are coming from at this time and understanding that motivation needs to come from passion. It needs to come from joy, not from outcomes. Okay. So when you're really hyper focused on an outcome, the motivation behind being so hyper focused on the outcome is actually fear. It is lack, and it is a fear of loss, typically, that will motivate us. And that is not the right reason to be motivated to do something or to go after something, right? The whole purpose of desire is meant to lead you towards your passion, towards your joy. And passion is always the indicator, and joy and like excitement is always the indicator when something is meant for you, right? So the more excited you feel about something, always choose that thing that you're more excited for. Always choose the thing that comes from this heartfelt passion. It doesn't come from fear. It doesn't come from lack. Your motivations are not driven by force or fear of loss, but driven by this intense passion of experiencing something that will fulfill you on a whole nother level, right? And so it's important to recognize the difference between wanting and needing, okay? Because oftentimes, something that came up for me and something that I feel is very heavy in the collective right now is that there are so many people, like I'm talking millions, potentially billions of people that are in this constant state of wanting. And what happens is, and the way that our matrix and our world is built up, is all of these things that are flashed before our eyes are essentially leading us down a rabbit hole of wanting. And wanting is constantly coming from a state of lack. And so the more flashy things that we are subjected to, the more wanting you are trapped in. So a lot of people end up getting stuck in this constant looping of wanting and never having, because having is a whole different energy pattern, a whole different energy frequency and rhythm that you are in versus wanting. Wanting is constantly coming from lack. It is constantly coming from this state of not having, right? And so wanting is limiting all potential, because all it does is it traps you in this constant loop of wanting and wanting and wanting and never observing what is actually needed in your life. And it takes a lot of self-awareness to know what you need versus what you want. Think about how many people want things that is not in alignment with what they need. And so I want to bring awareness to this so that if you're catching yourself, and I'd like you to catch yourself, pay attention to this, that every time that you are in wanting, question that wanting. What I want, is that what I actually need? Would it truly serve me to have that thing? And why am I focused on the wanting of it? Meaning, why am I focused on the not having of it? Pushing out all possible potentials of actually having it. So make sure that you have awareness that your wanting limits potential because it comes from your beliefs and your projections. And most people's beliefs and projections are negative. It's a fact. I hear people say all the time, I would really love to have this like amazing job with this, and they give me all the details about it. And then they add but. And then the instant belief that they insert is that, but I can't have it for this and this and this reason. Now you've completely negated it. Now it's like it can't even come in. Can't even happen. The next thing I'd like to point out is attachment, because attachments are also very much highlighted by this full moon right now. So the universe is asking you to recognize your attachments. What are you attached to? Because attachment is truly the root of all suffering. The more that you are attached to something, that means that you are in the vibration and the frequency of wanting it. That means that you're in the vibration and the frequency of not having it. That means that you're in the vibration and frequency of lack. So really look at your attachments right now and see what you're attached to and why, and question why you are attached. See, it's all about noticing and recognizing how we create our own suffering. No one creates suffering for us. Regardless of what is happening in the world, literally no one is creating suffering for us, because we're so incredibly powerful that with our minds and with our hearts, with our feelings, we are able to create realities for ourselves that transcends what the outside world is doing, that goes beyond that. You can be in an elevated state all the time if you release attachment, if you release wanting, and be in a state of having, be in a state of knowing that it's okay if it doesn't show up tomorrow. It doesn't have to. That is what surrender really looks like. Surrender and attachment go hand in hand. So every time that you surrender one of your attachments, which this full moon is asking us to surrender our attachments, you are releasing yourself from bondage, from your own bondage, the bondage that you created within your mind and within your thoughts, within your feelings, and within your beliefs. This is why I mentioned in the previous videos how incredibly important it is going to be this weekend to take some time out and look at your upbringing. Look at your inner child. How is your inner child out of balance? What beliefs did you grow up with? What were the beliefs of the adults around you when you were a kid? Because you took those beliefs on. You had nothing else to take on. What you were exposed to, you were a sponge and you just took it in. But right now you have a chance to see it for what it truly is and recognize how incredibly limiting some of those beliefs are. And that probably most of your beliefs are based on limitation. There was very few people in the previous generations that were in a more ascended mindset. As humanity has been evolving through centuries, through generations, we have been peeling back layers and shedding layers of programming slowly but surely with the coming of each generation. So take a look at what your beliefs are, what your perceptions are. Why do I see things the way that I see them? Does it feel good to see things the way that I see them? Does it bring me joy? Does it keep me in a feeling of balance, of I can have it all, of everything is okay? So taking a look at your perceptions, your beliefs, your thoughts, your predominant thoughts, your triggers. Oh my God, I'm going to get into triggers in a moment. This is so valuable right now. So incredibly valuable to look at these things really honestly. And I'm sure that a lot of people sat in very deep discomfort this weekend. And that deep discomfort is coming from all of this releasing of these patterns. All of the patterns are becoming known to us. They are being made known to us. And for some people, it's going to be a really like heavy hitter where it's going to be super in your face and you're going to have like deeper realizations about your patterns, which means that you're going to have deeper experiences with those patterns, which means that it's going to be more intense. It's going to feel even more uncomfortable. The deeper the awareness, the more uncomfortable the process is. And I'm talking about the shedding process. Patterns are literally, think of it this way, they're like energy forms, okay? They're like this intricate formation of energy. And what's happening right now is that these intricate forms of energy, which is in your field based on the heart's projection, the mind's projection, your beliefs, which are constantly changing your aura, constantly changing your energy centers, are, because it's all about whether you're in resistance or whether you're going with the flow. And these patterns right now are being completely shattered. They're being broken up, cracked, and they're slowly coming apart and falling apart. And this is the process that we're going to move through for the next month. So this is going to continue to unfold within you as the month goes, as we move towards July 21st, when we hit the second Capricorn full moon at 29 degrees. This is a full process from start to finish of completely unhinging, breaking up, cracking open, and releasing patterns that are holding humanity as a whole, as a collective, and of course, individuals in suffering. Because all of these patterns that are breaking up are patterns of suffering. They are patterns of lack, fear, of sadness, of not feeling worthy. Ooh, I felt that one in the power center, in the solar plexus. There's a lot of people. Okay. So a lot of solar plexus energy is recalibrated at this time. As you release those patterns, you're taking control of your power more and more and more. So you're bringing that power back into yourself. Your power is coming online and is allowing you to be a higher version of yourself, a more authentic version of yourself. And I want to triple underline, and highlight the word authenticity, because all of the patterning that we are releasing right now is moving us closer and closer towards our authenticity, who you truly are, which is not this fearful, incapable, victim, but rather this incredibly shiny, bright, powerful soul who is here to have an incredible experience. And the universe is trying to show us that, hey, life doesn't have to suck. You don't have to live in lack. Stop believing what you're seeing. Stop believing all of the conditioning, all of the programming, all of those other people's thoughts, other people's fears that they have projected upon you, that they have embedded in your mind, and that you have chosen to believe. So this is about taking back control, taking back sovereignty, taking back authenticity. When you are truly authentic, you are wise, you are beautiful, you are confident, you are in your power, you have no problem with assertion, you know what you want in life, you know how to get it. It's a whole different level of operation that you have a chance to function from. So let go of the belief that what you want will make you happy, only so you can get out of the state of the vibration of wanting, which is coming from an underpinning lack mentality, a belief in lack. And take all of that energy that you've been pumping into wanting, but never getting, and now take all of that focus and put it on what brings you joy and excitement here in the present moment, here in the right now. Right now, right now. Not 5 minutes ago, right now. What is the next thing that excites you the most to do? Do that. See, so many of us are trapped, and I kept hearing the word entrapment. It was like spinning in my mind yesterday, and I felt such heaviness yesterday. It was like, holy shit, like hard to sit with. And I know there was this massive collective energy. Some of it, of course, was my own. I'm always willing to own my own shit. But it was just so heavy. It was such a, ooh, and I just want to talk about temptation actually for a moment right now too. Really, really be strong. Really be strong and make sure that you are not tempted to go back to your old patterns. The devil does not sleep. Oh my God, guys, the devil does not sleep. And yesterday I felt it so strongly. There was such a deep temptation. It was like, it was swirling around me, and it was just like, come on, it's okay. You can go back to the old ways. You don't want to go into the new direction. Do not let any temptation to suck you back into old ways that you know have perpetuated unhappiness in your life. You see, the more that you elevate, the more aware that you become, the more that you understand what holds you back, the more darkness tends to come around. And this is also what is making this weekend and this Capricorn full moon intense, because the devil does not sleep, man. It wants to keep people stuck in certain loops, in certain patterns, in unhappiness, in addiction, in all kinds of different, and I'm going to talk about addiction here in a minute too. It wants to keep everyone perpetuating the old. And it's going to take strength and determination and serious commitment to a better life, to not fall back into those traps, to not go back down the same rabbit holes you've already been down a bunch of times. And maybe it took you a whole bunch of work to crawl out of. Redirecting your attention from those patterns that you were stuck in, from the wanting, from the lack mentality, from those negative beliefs that you've carried for most of your life potentially, is actually collapsing your false matrix. It's actually collapsing the entire matrix. Because just as you are connected to the matrix and feeding it with your energy, I am also connected to it and feeding it with my energy. So it's like the more and more of us that move through our patterns and break our patterns and evolve out of those patterns and finally understand the lessons that these patterns are trying to teach us, which the lessons foundationally are always move towards more joy, move towards more ease, release attachment so that you can feel free. Every lesson basically comes back down to that simple concept, because the universe is constantly guiding us towards more peace, more joy, more love for yourself. Do you love suffering? No. And if you don't love suffering, then end the pattern of suffering. End the thoughts that are looping in your mind. Stop believing those thoughts. And as we step out of our old patterns and old habitual ways of being, and as we collapse this matrix more and more, this false reality more and more, it allows you to step in to who you truly are. That light being, that spark of God, that spark of light that your soul is, that came here to learn lessons, to detangle yourself from patterns of previous lifetimes. Many patterns we, bring in with us because we've perpetuated it through so many lifetimes that in this lifetime, we decided that we were going to reincarnate, come back in, and break these patterns once and for all. But the tricky part is that we forget. The instant you are born, you forget. You forget your entire conversation with your guides before you come down and the mission that you've discussed with them. You forget your previous lifetimes. You forget your previous patterns. And so The remembering is what is happening now. And astrology, the cosmos, are supporting us with the remembering. Remember who you truly are. A divine being who is here to have an amazingly wonderful life, filled with joy and with happiness. A creator that is able to move worlds, that is able to create worlds through your imagination, through your heart. That is who we truly are, each of us, in our own beautiful, unique way. So tap into that. Remind yourself of that when you are struggling with the patterns because their claws are so deeply within you. And it's like you can lift every single claw and flick it out and be like, no, fuck no. I'm going to be strong. I'm going to be resilient, and I'm going to work through this. No matter how hard or difficult it feels, I'm going to sit in the difficulty. I'm going to allow myself just to experience it, not judge it. I did not feel good yesterday, guys. I did not feel good. But I just sat with it. And the devil was there, and it was tempting me so hard, and it was trying to push me back into fear. It was trying to push me back into old versions of myself, old patterns that I can, on a soul level, feel that I have outgrown. And I wrestled emotionally and mentally with that demon, with that shadow. And then I remembered who I truly was and how much power I truly have. And I decided to use breath work to move the energy out of my body. The energy that actually built up from the negative thoughts that I was having, from the fears that were coming up that I was feeling. Your breath is light itself. Every inhale, you are inhaling light. So use breath work right now as you move through some of these challenges within yourself. Inhale the light, visualize the light coming into you, and exhale and release the patterns, the darkness, the heaviness. Exhale and release the resistance. So over this next month, it is going to be very important and very valuable for you to pay attention how you feel in every moment, every day. How am I feeling right now? Why am I feeling this way? What is bringing this feeling out of me? And even when it comes to sadness, when you're feeling sad about something, about a loss, perhaps someone really close to you passed, ask yourself, why am I truly sad? What do I believe about this loss that is creating this sadness within me? And when it comes to grieving anyone, the underlying belief that causes immense sadness for people is that you won't see that person again. And that is a lie. That belief is a part of that false matrix that we are all connected to and contributing to with our beliefs. We never lose anyone. They simply transition into another plane of existence. Yes, they may not be here physically with us any longer, but we will see them again when we also transition. One of my neighbors, whom I knew personally for many years now, I used to treat her, she had MS, and she recently passed, last week actually. And when I heard of her passing, I felt like celebrating. I was so happy for her. I was so joyful that she transitioned, that she was finally free of the confinement of her mind and of her body, of her broken body. I can't even imagine the immense relief that she must have felt once she transitioned out. I don't view death the same way as other people do, because I understand that it is a transition. And this releasing of patterns is no different. Allowing these patterns to die, to crumble, to fall away from your life allows you to transition to a much higher timeline, to a much happier timeline. It allows you to transition into who you truly are, this unbound, unlimited soul energy. The only thing that limits and binds us is truly our thoughts, our beliefs, our perceptions, and our projections, and keeps us attached to these lower vibrational experiences. We are constantly manifesting, remember? Every waking moment, you are manifesting your reality. Are you going to allow yourself and give yourself permission to manifest a peaceful reality, a happy reality, regardless of circumstance, regardless of what is happening in the false matrix? Will you allow yourself to not focus on that and instead tune into the joy that is available to you, that you get to decide whether you want to experience or not? We are in such an epically beautiful time right now. We have such an opportunity to co-create, to completely shift into brand new realities. The solstice and this full moon are both about new beginnings, a profound opportunity for a profound new beginning. So when you don't feel good, ask yourself, why do I not feel good right now in this moment? What beliefs, what thoughts am I having that is not allowing me to feel good? And I mentioned that I wanted to talk about addiction. Addiction also comes from lack. Do you know why so much of the world has addictions and so many different forms of addictions? Because so much of the world is still in that old paradigm of lack, believes in lack, keeping them in a perpetual state of wanting. And what does addiction do? It fills a void. Every person that is addicted to something is addicted to something to fill a void within themselves. And that void, 10 out of 10 times, is a lack of happiness. And your lack of happiness is caused by nothing else other than what you think, what you believe, and what you feel in each moment. These are the patterns that we're meant to recognize right now, so that you can free yourself from them. Life is truly so simple. We are the ones that make it complicated. We complicate it for ourselves. And this is why detaching from that matrix, allowing it to crumble, detaching from that complication that we perpetuate, brings the fulfillment, brings the authenticity, brings the alignment with true source, with power. So be very, very vigilant about what you give your time and your attention to. What kind of thoughts, what kind of feelings, and make sure that you notice that when you are not feeling good, it is time to question the belief that is causing you to not feel good. Awareness is freeing. It is gold, because the moment that you become aware of a pattern that you're repeating, a belief that doesn't serve you, a thought that makes you feel like crap, the moment that you become aware of it is the moment that you are cracking and breaking that pattern. It's instantaneous. And then the next awareness cracks it further, and the next awareness cracks it even more, until you reach a point where the awareness is so set in that you transcend out of it, that it just doesn't, it's no longer a pattern, has no effect on you, because now you're in a continually higher state, in a whole different state. You're not bound by that pattern any longer. So look for the evidence of growth within yourself, within your life. Notice how much your life has changed as a result of your growth. And don't quantify the growth. Don't look at, oh, well, not much has changed in my life, so I clearly haven't grown. No, absolutely incorrect. Do not quantify the growth, because you have to keep in mind the laws of the universe. The physicality, the material world, always has to catch up with the energetics. It's not instant. I've shifted and now, boom, all of a sudden my entire environment and everything around me has changed, is different, and magically, poof, it just, all of a sudden, everything is better. And that's not how it works. There's always a bit of a delay with the energy. The growth happens slowly, gradually, and slowly, gradually, the external environment begins to reflect your growth. And when you really think about it, how incredibly scary would it be if everything was instantly manifested the moment you thought it? Oh my God. Terrifying idea. When you think about certain negative thoughts you've had in the past, scary, isn't it? So it's like, the delay is good. Do not quantify your growth. Instead, just celebrate it. Be proud of yourself. I looked in the mirror this morning and the first thing I said was, I am so proud of you. I love you. You're doing such a great job. This is the kind of self-love and pep talk that we need to give ourselves. These are the new patterns that we need to create. Why? Because it felt good to do it. And it wasn't out of ego. It was a genuine feeling of pride, of acknowledgement of how far I have come, how far I have actually stepped out of my past conditioning, of my past programming, of the beliefs and of the projections and the thoughts and the negative feelings that I used to carry within myself. The victim mentality, the lack mentality. So acknowledge your growth. Always acknowledge your growth and celebrate it. Celebrate it with something small. I went out and I got myself a cup of coffee this morning. That's how I was celebrating. It doesn't have to be huge. Something simple. Why? Because when you celebrate your growth, you acknowledge that you have grown, and more growth happens as a result. And treating yourself with little wonderful things that bring happiness to you and joy are going to motivate you to keep growing. So between now and the next full moon, one of the best things that you can do for yourself is to become very, very aware of your triggers and 100% question, what belief, what thought am I having right now that is causing the trigger? Because believe me, it's not anything outside of you. When you are healed, when you are whole, when you are powerful, nobody can rock your world. You're a vault. You become a vault. It's my new thing, actually. I started saying that. I'm a vault. I don't take on other people's stuff. So become very aware of your triggers and just notice, what am I believing right now about this person or about myself or about the situation that is causing me to get so triggered right now? And what cascade of thoughts is my brain instantly flooded with as a result of this trigger? And then how is that making me feel? Is it triggering me even more? Your triggers are a beautiful guide. Don't look at them as something negative. They are this amazing guide showing you what your beliefs are, what your thought patterns are like, what feelings you're perpetuating within yourself or holding on to, your perceptions, how you view things. It really shows you on a deeper level. It brings so much awareness. Triggers are such a gift. They are the roadmap to your patterns, to your belief system. And the very last thing that I want to leave you with is that the more intense your experience is right now with whatever is coming up for you, the bigger your mission, the bigger your purpose. Because that means that your growth is also going to be bigger, more expansive. And usually when we grow, we have a natural inclination to want to share that growth with others so that those others can also grow from hearing our journey and through relating to our experiences, because so many of us share experiences. So many of us are relatable for each other. So just keep that in mind, okay? The more intense this process is that you're moving through, the harder it is, the more difficult it feels, the bigger your mission, the bigger your purpose. And not in all cases, but you are most likely meant to share that with others. It could simply just be you being yourself, doing your thing, working your job. It doesn't mean you necessarily have to share it on YouTube or social media or anything like that. It literally could be just you being yourself, but now being in this elevated version as a result of your growth, as a result of your expansion, and then your community, your family, your friends, your spouse, your children, the people that are exposed to you, that have access to you, or that come across your path, see that difference within you. They see the contrast, they see your growth, the maturity, and that resonance literally resonates out into and onto those people. It influences them. So there are 1,000,001 ways to share our growth with the world and allow others to experience our growth. Whatever feels best for you. In every moment, remember this, in every moment, choose what feels good, feels natural for you, what feels like alignment, things that excite you and that bring you joy, things that come from a place of love for yourself. That should be the fuel behind every action you take. So that is the message I wanted to share for this very intense full moon. There was, like I said, so much energy I was tapping into yesterday. It was literally overwhelming. So breathe. Remember the breathing exercise. Breathe through it. Breathe through the intensity. And ask yourself, what is this moment trying to teach me? What kind of a pattern is coming up for me right now that I'm meant to become aware of so that I can release? Thank you so much for watching. Take really good care of yourselves. I love you all, and I will see you in the next video.